Hello, students. This is Mr. Staggs, and today we are going to learn how to read chemical formulas. I've written some chemical formulas here, and I've used different colors to represent the different elements, and that's not realistic. I just did it as a teaching tool. Really, though, what we should be looking at is the number of capital letters. And so, look here, we have two colors, blue and red, but we also have two capital letters, H and O, hydrogen and oxygen. So the number of elements here is 2, and I've written it, 2. I'm going to ask that you do that as well. Now, what are the total number of atoms in this molecule, or you could say the total number of atoms in this compound? 3 total atoms, 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen for 3 total atoms. This is water, H2O. NaCl. How many elements are in NaCl? Sodium chloride. Now remember the rule, count the capital letters. Capital N, small a, there's 1 capital letter. Capital C, small l, there's 2 capital letters. There are 2 elements, sodium and chlorine. This is sodium chloride. Number of elements, 2. How many atoms? Do you see a number here? I don't need to write 1, but there's 1 sodium atom. And there's 1 atom here. But if there's 1, I don't need to write it, only if it's 2 or more, like I did over here. So there are 2 total atoms. How many elements in carbon dioxide? CO2. How many capital letters? Capital C, capital O. There are 2 elements. How many atoms? Well, how many carbons are there? How many oxygens are there? There are 3 total atoms. H2SO4. This time we'll start with the number of atoms. How many hydrogen? How many sulfurs? How many oxygens? Notice how I don't write 1, or scientists don't write 1 when there's only 1 atom in that compound, but there's 1 here. There's 1 atom, and I'm just writing it in for teaching purposes. 2 plus 1 is 3, plus 4 is 7. 7 total atoms. Remember the rule, count the capital letters. 1, 2, 3. 3 elements. Look at this. Challenge for you. What is this a molecule of? Let's start with the number of atoms. What's 22 plus 11? That's 33. And 33 plus 12 is 45. 45 total atoms. The number of elements. Count the number of capital letters. 1, 2, 3. 3 elements. So I hope it's starting to make sense. We're going to do another example here. And this, by the way, is sulfuric acid. This is table salt. This is carbon dioxide. I want you to find this one on your own. Look here. The number of atoms. Well, this must be a 1 because there's no number. This must also be a 1, and this must also be a 1. There are 3 atoms. Elements. Count the capital letters. 1, 2, 3. This is not capitalized. There are 3 capital letters here. There are 3 elements. Number of atoms. Well, let's start with number of elements. Number of elements. Count the capital letters. Capital, lowercase, capital, capital. There are 3 capital letters. That means there's 3 elements. How many total atoms? 1, 1, and 4. 6 atoms. I'm going to pause here just for a minute. I'm going to go slow. How many total atoms? How many total elements? All right, total atoms. 5 plus 2 is 7, 8, 9. 9 atoms, elements. 1, 2. Oh, look at that. They're both hydrogen. 1, 2, 3. And that's a repeat. 1, 2, 3 elements. And these compounds have names. Sodium hydroxide, copper sulfate, and alcohol. These are the molecular formulas, O2, but here's a structural formula. And it's showing us how many bonds there are with those electrons being shared, or electrons actually going into other atoms. And that's not important for grade 6, but just know that there's more than one way to write the formula for molecules and compounds. O2 and 2, there's a triple bond here. CO2, C, O2, H2O, H2O. Double bond has to do with multiple electrons being involved in this bond. Triple bond and single bond. And this is a review from previous lessons. Look, O2 is a molecule but not a compound. Why is it not a compound? Raise your hand. Good job. It's not a compound because there's only one element, oxygen. Compounds have got to have more than one element. So this is a review as well. Look, every compound is in the category of molecule, but not every molecule is in the category of compounds. Molecules are any two atoms chemically joined, but a compound must have different elements like hydrogen and oxygen or carbon and oxygen. O2 is a molecule, but it's not a compound. N2 is a molecule, but it's not a compound. But H2O and CO2, they are compounds. They're also molecules. Kind of like this. The white team has 24, 25, 26, and 27. And we are, and in my homeroom is homeroom 26. So, homeroom 26 is part of the white team, but not every white team homeroom is homeroom 26. Only homeroom 26 is homeroom 26. And I hope that makes sense. All right. Thanks for listening. Good job.